Hello there, my name is Chris Palmer, and in today's video, what I'd like to share with you are my Google Business Profile, Google Maps, Google My Business ranking advice that's going to certainly help propel your business to get more calls, more leads, more sales. In fact, what was shared with me was a list, a magnitude of different signals or factors. And what I want to share with you are the tidbits, the pieces that were left out of the list. Here's the factor, but what about the why? And then the why that is given oftentimes is there for the best interest of the company that's giving the factor. So what I want to share with you is actual advice from actually going out and ranking business profiles. What are some of the things that for me have helped myself and my clients in very competitive spaces, in very competitive locations? So I do not want to waste any time. I would like to go through this list that was shared with me, and I'm going to point out the things that, yes, it's a signal and it could help, but I want to give you all of I want to dot the I's and cross the T's. Now, with that out of the way, Chris Palmer Marketing for any and all of your done-for-you or SEO services. If you need consulting, if you're interested in just learning more, check out the Mastermind or chrispalmermarketing.com. But with that being said, let's talk about category. So it's at the top of the list that was shared with me. Category, primary category. All right, so let's talk about category. Now, oftentimes what I'm seeing too on the list is when we're talking about category, we're also speaking about adding additional categories. But here's the problem. Let's say, all right, and we're starting with category and additional categories. If we have a primary category of personal injury lawyer, okay, let's just say that that's what it is. Personal injury lawyer. We could go in there and add attorney, okay? We could go in there and we could add in law firm, all right? But let me ask you a question. When we're talking about personal injury lawyer, or regardless of the niche, or regardless of the industry that you're in, if you're a plumber or a chiropractor, or maybe you're a lawyer like we're discussing right now, would you rather be okay for 3 different categories, or would you rather be undiluted and at the top for the primary? Because at the end of the day, if the personal injury lawyer, I won't write it all out, okay, is your primary category, you have to understand that truck accident, right? The word personal injury lawyer is at the top and everything else is going to fall underneath. Motorcycle accident injury, right? If we start doing car accidents, or maybe you're a chiropractor, perhaps we do sciatica, low back, upper back, right? If you're a plumber, you do clogs, you do toilets, you do sinks. If you're a masseuse, right? The list goes on. But diluting the primary category can give you a temporary advantage. But 99.999% of the businesses that I talk to are not in the temporary gain, ecosystem. They want to have sustainable, repeatable success year after year. And from my experience, my advice to you is pick the big primary category that actually encompasses your business and run your business underneath of that. Why? Let's be really strong here, because we do these additional services, and the additional services can be talked about in and on our website, along with in our products where we can list over. And of course, the main thing is we're within our actual reviews that we're getting, or from the actual queries that are going to be generated when finding our business. This is what really will dictate or determine your best ranking is, hey, the users that interacted with the profile, have they left reviews? Have they been to the website? And how did they find us initially? Google tracks all this. At the end of the day, categories and adding primary categories can be temporarily helpful. However, for long-term repeatable success, stick to the main, go for the largest, go for what actually encompasses your business, and this will be the best for long-term success. All right? Now, let's talk about some of the next categories. I want to get through this as quickly as I can and give you the best advice that I possibly can. Number 2 on the list, keywords in your business. In my humble opinion, my best advice to you is, oh yeah, sure, if you're a personal injury law firm, you can write John's personal injury law firm in there, and then you could write Albuquerque, New Mexico, right? Or whatever. Or if you're a plumber or a chiropractor, right? You can put keywords in there, right? But for us, if there's 3 positions in the map pack, 1, 2, 3, if you come up that map pack and you start stepping on all the other law firms, I assure you that you will not have that success for very long, because there are people and business owners and companies that their sole objective is, if you're stepping out of line, they're going to let Google and whomever else know about it. So temporary gains, yes, you can add keywords or location information to the actual name of your business. But again, this is a short-lived trick. Does it give you a boost? Sure, temporarily. In our mastermind, in fact, we literally tested this exact thing. And yes, we had a massive ranking increase for about 45 days for those individual keywords. However, on other businesses that I've put actual brand names into the actual business listing, we were outed. All right. So my best advice to you on this is, hey, let the competitors get away with it. Because this comes to me, clients will come to me, hey, this guy's doing it, or this lady's doing it. Just because you need to do what's best for long term. Short vision businesses, it's only short term. It's only short term, I assure you. All right, it's a short term gain. Stick with what is your actual business name. That's what you add in there. Let's talk about proximity. Proximity. All right. This multiple years ago has been massively impactful. All right. Now, where we used to be able to get a 5-mile radius, all right, around the business, okay, like if my business is here, anybody in this circle, depending on authority, will generally see my business. And this is still true to today. Now, there are some businesses, depending on which location are you in. Lower competition businesses, meaning that there's less people targeting the specific categories that you're targeting in a specific area. Some businesses and some categories in some areas can perform very, very well. But if we're talking about dentists, if we're talking about personal injury lawyers, DUI lawyers, criminal lawyers, if we're talking about real estate investors, home sellers, realtors, if you're catching a 5-mile radius, okay, for your business in a competitive market, in a competitive place, in my opinion, especially for primary keywords, you're doing an exceptional job. Proximity to the searcher. If this person's standing right here, all right, and they're 7 miles away, but there's a business here, the probability of you ranking above them is very low. So proximity to the actual searcher is still very, very high. And you can build up the overall authority of your profile and show up more by the easiest thing is have more listings in more places, more verified listings. This can be very difficult. But another way is, do you have your business? Have you been getting reviews? Not with keywords, but with location? 2, other than the reviews talking about locations, are the actual searchers that are searching for your business and finding you and ending a session, are they from the proximity in which your business is located or slightly outside of? You see, you can manipulate the optimization. You can manipulate a lot of factors within the Google Business Profile, but what really determines the ranking is that end user. What's the reviews? What's inside of the reviews? What about the actual searches? They track every single element within Google. All of it. They know what searches. They know how long you're on the site. They know what the click-through rate was. They want to know who you jumped off of. Who did you go and see? All of that plays a factor. All of it. So with that being said, proximity is still very, very important. Let's move on to physical address inside the city. This goes into proximity without a shadow of a doubt. If I want to rank in Houston, yes, I have a higher probability of actually ranking inside of Houston. 1,000%. There's no question. What's going to give us more proximity or going to give us a higher ranking probability is going to be how many other businesses are there? How long have I been there? Also, too, what's inside the reviews? How many people are actually finding me and ending a session? That's the key differentiator, okay? Let's keep going down this list because we want to start talking about the actual amount of reviews. Now, this is absolutely positively going to be one of the top things. However, they'll talk about the quantity, okay? Now, I see that inside of the report that I received, okay? Quantity, all right? But these are the little tidbits that they like to leave out. Yes, overall quantity matters, but it's not as important as velocity. Velocity is the key metric, my friend. All right. If you're watching this, it's velocity of reviews, consistency of reviews. Because if Joe, the personal injury lawyer, is doing business, right, and they're having happy customers consistently and persistently day after day after day after day, then that would mean that Joe or Sally's business profile is consistently day after day after day getting new reviews. It's not, this is very deceiving, quantity. Yes, absolutely. The overall amount is the end game of what's important. But how many times have you seen a business that the new guy or the new girl in town, they're doing consistent business, you know they're doing a good job, and they're running up the maps listings. They're starting to skyrocket in rankings. How many times have you seen it? Probably quite a few times, right? Well, this is because velocity of reviews is more important than the actual number. If I'm a business doing good business, I'm consistently and persistently getting reviews. It's velocity of reviews. Don't go out there and start banging 10 a day. 1 or 2 a day is probably, you're doing really good. I know a lot of business owners that are really, really happy if they could get 2 a week. So consistency of reviews and velocity of reviews is much more important than whatever number this is, the overall quantity. It's not overall quantity. You could go out there and buy 1,000 reviews. Go ahead. Now, but if you space them out over the course of a year, now you're doing something. All right, let's keep going here. Adding in additional categories. We talked about that with the primary category. This, again, it's a temporary gain. That's the things that they're not telling you. Is, yeah, you could get, it's a factor, and you'll get an edge for a short period of time. Now, next thing is verified. This goes without saying. I don't even know how this got on the list. Verified business listing, yes. Yes. An unverified listing, this is a long strategy that we've been deploying for business owners. If I had an unverified, we'll say it's a UNV, I can get a 1 mile radius, if I'm lucky in a competitive market and in a competitive location, around the business. So if somebody's standing right there in that mile around the business, I have a very high likelihood that my unverified listing is going to show up. However, how do you build a business off of that? An unverified listing, and yes, it has reviews, but we need an authentic business that has the products, it has a website, it's been attached, it's there, it's getting reviews consistently, it has links over to the website, and it shows prominently online. Yes, a verified listing is going to not only rank farther, but it just looks more authentic to an actual business owner. And business owners, people that are calling you is what I'm getting at, are becoming more savvy every single day. They understand, they're starting to understand the differences here, all right? Plus, you're running a real business. Get your business verified. It is what it is. So let's move on. Next, proximity to the address. We talked about it. Keyword in the GBP, yes. All right, this is big. More importantly than just having the keyword on the page. Yes, we know that the home page is more important. I was talking about this in 2016, okay? More importantly is inside of your actual head here, okay? The header, okay? Also listed down here is if you decide to do services, or if you decide to link over to the website, are these the actual services that you provide and you offer? Are the actual services and the products that you provide, is that exactly what you're talking about over in the Google Business Profile? Literally. When Google comes and does a crawl on the main page, is everything that you say over here, here? And if it's not, it needs to be. I know a lot of the terminologies can be slightly different. However, does it make sense? Is it literally identical to what you're saying and portraying over here? That is the differentiator. It's transparency. Are you being transparent with Google and your customers? Or are you trying to add in and try to get a one-up, like by stuffing in categories or by stuffing in services or by packing in products, right? Is it transparent, or are you being honest with yourself, your customers, and Google, right? AKA, to make it simple, are you putting the keywords that are here onto your website, right? Okay, so I think we're on the same page there. Okay, let's keep moving on down this list. It's a big list. It's a big list. We talked about that. Now I'm skipping over a couple things because a lot of these things are just obscene, right? You know, high amount of rankings, high amount of 5-star. That's completely irrelevant. That's actually a blatant lie. You know, how many times have you seen a business that's consistently getting reviews that are 4, 3, and 5, right? The probability of every single customer giving you a 5-star rating, come on. There's just, I'm sure there's I know that you're running a very good business. But I've seen plenty of businesses that, yes, the majority are 5-star. But if you have 500 reviews on your GBP and all 500 are 5-star, I mean, come on. You know, mix and match. I'm 100% confident that velocity of reviews is going to be massively impactful for your business. Of course it is. I also believe that the overall quantity of reviews from consistency is impactful. I know also, and my best advice on this too, is that as long as the velocity coming into the profile is consistent, like a real business is consistently getting orders and doing actual business, there's going to be sometimes a 3, maybe a 4, but a majority is going to be 5. But at the end of the day, we still had customers that were happy with the overall, but you can't make them all a 5-star and happy, all right? But it's consistency and velocity that moves the needle, all right? Don't get stuck on that 5-star number. Then you stick out like a sore thumb. Everyone else in your industry, right? It doesn't matter. Personal injury, law firm, chiropractor, dentist, whatever you're doing, it doesn't matter. But you'll stick out like a sore thumb. You have 500. Toby over here or Tanya over here has 50. They have a 4.7. You have a perfect 5-star. Come on. Come on. Okay? All right. Let's move on. Okay? All right. Yep. Dedicated individual pages. This is absolutely positively correct. A dedicated service page is what we talked about when we made out the bar, and I mentioned about 2016, all right? Having dedicated pages for each service that is going to be backed up with information on the GBP, Google Business Profile, and it might not match exactly word for word, but you're listing out in your products. Also, it's being talked about in your reviews. And this is the main queries that are coming in from actual users coming to the profile. Do the drop downs or mega menus consistently say the same services, or are you trying to stuff in here? Having individualized services and individualized service-based location pages is only in your best interest. Making these power pages, I know, is very, very popular, or cornerstone content, or whatever you want to call it. But if you're a personal injury lawyer, and on this personal injury lawyer, if you put on this page, all of the services that you provide and run your GBP here, Google's going to either decide to rank it based off of the title in the primary, not give you any love for truck, car, motorcycle, or train, okay? Making these pillar pages, or whatever you want to call these, is very, very important, okay? Or very, very popular, I should say. However, if Google Maps and Google Business Profile is a massive amount of leads or calls and driver of your business, we need to show Google that we care about the individual services, where we made individual products, maybe even wrote about individual services inside of the Google Business Profile. We didn't just add in what was Google said, hey, add this in, add this in. No, we didn't just go down the list and check it. But do you have an actual page for the actual service? Then if you want to make a product or add that service into your Google Business Profile, that makes sense. But stuffing stuff in to try to fool or deceive, it's not good for long-term sustainable and predictable growth. It just isn't. You will get temporary gains, but it's not sustainable, and you can't run a business like that. Okay? All right, moving into the next couple things here. All right. Proper placement of the pin. Okay, this is 101 stuff. I don't know how this is top 20. Geographics, internal linking across. Okay. Quantity of inbound. All right. Recency of reviews. That's the big part. It's all about reviews. Quantity of inbound links. Okay. This is where I see a lot of business owners. Okay. You have your GBP, you have your Google Business Profile, and there's a couple of ways to generate links into that particular asset, okay? Now, you have the main Google link, right? The URL. It's actually Google's website. So you have the main Google link, correct? Then on top of that, you have the products, okay? Those link out, and that makes it's called a product pop-out, right? It's a JavaScript pop-out within Google Maps. You have reviews, okay? And then you'll have the business site, all right? If you chose to utilize that, or you went and got the free website before you added your main website, then you still have availability here. You have the reviews, you have those links, you have the actual share link, you have what is called the short link, okay? This goes back to consistency and predictable rankings, along with predictable rankings that I can actually, okay, from this business to this business to this business, or this location to this location, that I can consistently do in order to get a result. Yes, I have seen numerous times sending links, because it's on this list, sending links to this Google link, or perhaps sending it to the products or to individual reviews, or maybe the business site, or even the short URL. In standalone instances for a short period of time, I have seen noticeable effects. However, could I charge a client or say predictively that, hey, if I send links here, I guarantee that you're going to see a ranking increase without harm to your business? No, I could not, nor would I. I don't sell that service. Why? Because I cannot predictively and guarantee that I can get an achievable result no matter what, just by sending links here, here, or here, or here, or here, or all of them. Okay? So links to the actual profile, doing it that way, I see lots of people and lots of little write-ups on that, but I have yet to be able to say, okay, if I do this, 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 and this with the links, I guarantee I get a boost. On some profiles, and sometimes, but not 100% of the time. Now, where I have seen consistency when we're talking about links, and perhaps that's what they mean from this list, I don't know. But what I have seen is, when you have a main website, head, foot, sidebar, body content, right? One of the main things that is always said, this is 101 stuff, is we want to have an authority outbound link, AOL. Right? Authority outbound link. It is absolutely, positively in your best interest in order to help make the connections for Google. Now, if I have this is my homepage. We already know that this is massively linked over. I'm assuming that you've linked this over. But I've also made individualized products and or I have secondary services that are listed in my drop down here. And we already know that consistency between website and also the GBP is a significant ranking signal, especially when we're not trying to stuff in. Everything's clear as day and transparent between the website and the GBP. So where you can see a increase predictively, it's part of the process of optimization, is where I have an authority outbound link. If I have an individual product or service or location plus service, one of our authority outbound links can go to an individual product or product page generally. Another thing that helps with authority outbound links, and if you want to build assets or links to it, is if inside of your desktop, if you go in and you look at your reviews, you can sort reviews by newest, most relevant, newest, but you can also do a search. So if I have a location-based service page, let's say it's truck accident lawyer Omaha, okay? And I do a search inside of my Google reviews, and I have a relevant search that's talking about a truck accident lawyer in Omaha, wouldn't that make sense to have an authority outbound link from here to here and perhaps maybe send links to the review, because that is predictively going to give me an edge? See, they'll say, hey, build the links, but they don't say where and when to build the links. This is predictively a signal, okay? This is just one form. It has to make sense on both ways is what I'm getting at here. So I'll see the factor, but how do you put that into context, okay? So hopefully I've hammered that home. All right, now let's talk about, I've probably gone over the top 10 and the most, I wanted to really break down the most important factors for you, okay? And I wanted to give you some advice and the main things just to wrap this up, and then I'll go through the process and put it all together for you in a way, in my way at least. Primary category is impactful. We want to focus and optimize the profile around the primary category. We'll talk about secondaries and secondary services on the website and then also within our product section. We'll go in there and stuff in a lot of categories. Keywords in the business title. Again, temporary edge. But I assure you that if you run up that Maps listing rankings very, very quickly and start stepping on people all the way up, I guarantee you either get suspended or you'll have to re-verify. It's only a matter of time. Number 3, proximity to the address. There's only 2 ways. Yes, the closer you are to the actual people that are searching, the higher the probability that you're going to rank. Period. End of statement. Number 4, physical address in the city or search. Again, if I want to rank in Houston, I need to have my business listing in Houston. I'm not saying that, hey, if I'm in Austin, I can't show up in Houston. You could, but it's highly unlikely. Moving into some of the other categories or adding additional categories, that shows up 2 times. I would steer clear, stay optimized. The big one is the reviews, quantity of reviews, consistently getting reviews or velocity of reviews. Having your GBP verified is a no-brainer, of course. That's like a give. But proximity, reviews, and most importantly, what I'm going to sum up for you is the process and how you actually rank. All right, now here's some advice. All right, so those were some of the big things that I wanted to point out to you, but now let me give you some other advice, okay? First and foremost, it's very warm in here. First and foremost, all right? Just like they mentioned before, the evolution of the customer, all right? This is very important, okay? Let me put the pieces together for ranking for you, all right? 1, am I getting searches online? Whether it's in Maps or organic, whether it's on a cell phone, a tablet, or a desktop, whether it's Mac, it's Android, or Linux, doesn't matter. Are the searches that are coming in, the end user traffic, Is this consistent with the products and services that you're providing? And what I mean by this is when you have an actual website or a page, let's say you're trying to rank for car accident lawyer, okay? That page ranks for dozens of keywords, if not hundreds or perhaps thousands of keywords, right? Right. In order to rank this page, I should not only see an influx of primary keyword traffic and searches and session ends, but I also need to see what else makes up that ranking. The person that's getting all the traffic just for Car Accident Lawyer Toronto or Car Injury Lawyer Toronto isn't the person that's going to rank at the top. There's lots of sites that get a lot more traffic for those words, but they don't rank at the top. It's diversity of keywords that are going to be relevant to the primary that drives rank. And it's the same for maps. It's the same for maps. I can't only just start jumping in traffic for primary keywords. It's unrealistic. I need to have consistency of a variation of keywords for the primary in order to rank higher. Am I getting searches for primary and secondary keywords that are relevant to the main service that I'm providing? Yes or no? That's one of it. That's one of them. 2, if they're running over, what is the actual conversion action, the CA? What is the conversion action? If they initiate a search and they land on my business profile, was there a conversion action? Have they called? Have they visited the website? And when they visited the website, did they actually click over to another page? Also, a conversion action is, did they message? And when they messaged, did you have communication? And then, of course, were they on your website? Yes or no? The true signal always ends with the user signals. You can manipulate and send links and do all that you want. And that's what makes sense for optimization. But in order to rank, we need the user signals. That's the key. Number 3, velocity of reviews. A business that's consistently getting business is consistently getting reviews. But this needs to make sense with this and this. I should not have 500 reviews in the week of the 22nd when I only had 13 visitors for those specific keywords that didn't match up to the user profile that left the review. You see? Number 4, keywords in reviews. Maybe once upon a time, I played a cello in high school and I was really good. But I can't play it anymore. My fingers don't work. It's the same for keywords. They used to work really good. But what's more important is location information. Which specific services written in a user, not a professional tone, which locations were you getting services performed in? And what other secondary words, often utilized by a customer, not a professional, are inside of that review? Also, these one-liners, it's unrealistic. A happy and a true customer, if they're going to take the time, they're going to take the time to write a review. Okay? Some of the other pieces, some other tips here. So searches, conversion actions. Here, I need more room. I need more room. All right, we'll make it smaller. So the searches, conversion actions, velocity of reviews, location, info in reviews, sessions ended on you. This is the big one. How many searches that had a conversion action actually began and ended a session on you and left a review within an actual time frame, maybe a 30-day time span. Like this actual user profile started and ended with you and then ended the entire sequence with a review. Very important. Top 5. Top 5. All right. I don't want to make this too long. I'll see if you have any questions related to this topic. But again, my name is Chris Palmer. If you have any questions related to Google Maps, Google Business Profiles, local SEO, backlinks, ads, pretty much anything that could help your business achieve more phone calls, more leads, more sales, or just want to give me a question, ask in the section below, or you could book a time with me. I'm always happy to help. But I look forward to seeing you in the next Google Business Profile, Google My Business advice video. I'll see you in the very next video. Thank you so much and have a great day. But that's going to end the recording